Hello everyone and welcome to the first round of the 2018 SCRS IndyCar World Series. I'm Kyle Heyer here with SimTV. Finian DeCuna should be joining us shortly. Right now we have our first round here in Sebring, Florida at the Sebring International Raceway, and we're just completing qualifying. We have about 6 minutes left in that. Justin Richardson currently your pole sitter. This is a new championship for 2018. Over 30 cars entered in the full season, a couple short tonight just due to the holiday. So we have 27 cars on the grid, and it should definitely be a great race with a large grid. So currently your top qualifier is Justin Richardson in the number 13 Positive Sim Racing machine. Has about a half-second gap over second place Andrew Hoffert in the 243. And a lot of new drivers, a lot of new faces, and it should be a really fun season here on SimTV. You can catch every single race right here on this YouTube channel in SimTV. For those watching on YouTube later, you can find the race start time and other links such as the point standings in the video description and in the comments below. And we'd like to hear your feedback so we can get better and improve as we move on to the other rounds in the season. Just over 5 minutes remaining, and Richardson still in a commanding lead of that pole spot. Will Salisbury in the 3rd spot, and Darwin Meintz in the 4th spot. Peter Short in 5th. And Jonathan DeCouger from the SCRS Ferrari GT3 Challenge is going to be currently 6th place. So pretty tight battle up front for the time being, with the exception of the 13 of Richardson. And here's your 2nd place driver, Andrew Hoffert. And this will definitely be a close race, but these open wheels machines here on a bumpy racetrack such as Sebring, it is going to be a challenge, especially for those with direct drive force feedback wheels. It is going to be rough and bumpy here this evening, and keeping this big monster under control with 600 plus horsepower is going to be a challenge for all of these drivers. Sebring International Raceway is built on an old World War II airbase in Sebring, Florida, and due to the flat nature of this racetrack, it presents a unique set of challenges. The bumps and the curbing here are very easy to upset the race car, and as we said before, with the open wheel format, it's very easy to get your car out of shape. There's lots of spins in the practice for this race, but hopefully now the drivers can have everything underneath them as we head into this 40-lap feature. And it looks like Finian's here. Hello, Finian.
Hey, sorry, I got lost on the way to the booth.
All right, well, Finian DeCuna is here. Finian, welcome. Sebring, Florida, we've been here a couple times for other SCRS races, but this track is special for many different reasons, and I think my favorite is that it is really bumpy. Driving these open wheel cars, what special challenges does a bumpy track bring?
Well, really, it's the bumps itself. You know, you're going over at high rates of speed, 140, 150 miles an hour plus, and with these cars, if you hit a bump in just the wrong way, it's going to upset the car, and you're going to be spinning around in circles.
Yeah, Finian, the practice leading up to this, we saw a couple cars go around at pit exit, and as we see Kurt Crum go for a loop and back it into the barrier here. That's the beauty of sim racing, is you can reset your vehicle and get back out there. But the bumpy track combined with stiff suspension is definitely a recipe for disaster. But you have to last 40 laps here today with 26 other cars on the track. With a field size this big and turn 1 being so treacherous, is that going to pose a challenge tonight?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a hard challenge to see these guys. First race of the season is going to be great to see how they deal with it.
All right, just over 2.5 minutes remaining. Justin Richardson still on pole with a 141.024. Andrew Hoffert in the 243 has a 141.5 right now, so about a 5.5 gap back to 2nd place. But behind them, it is a pretty tight battle between 2nd and basically everybody else. We're all pretty close there. Let's get some cameras back on some action. Dan Garber right here in his Red Bull IndyCar. A lot of familiar faces from other SCRS series, but this is a new series that will run season long and will conclude in November. But this is just the first round of many in the 2018 SCRS IndyCar World Series. Finian, in the Discord leading up to this race, a lot of the drivers were talking about the challenges of this IndyCar and its potential to lose control. But one of the drivers that stuck out to me, who is currently dominating the SCRS Ferrari GT3 Challenge, Justin Richardson. Justin said to me that he was uncomfortable driving around, but here he is sitting on pole with about 1 minute and 50 seconds left in qualifying, and it's not even really close. I mean, is this someone we have to look out for the whole season if he says this car is tricky for him to drive and he's sitting on pole?
Yes, it honestly is. It's pretty much the equivalent of Lewis Hamilton saying he has a few problems with the car and then goes out to win the race. Richardson has just shown time and time again. You know, he says he struggles a bit in there, but whatever he does, he just manages to correct it and just take the car to the win, no matter what he's in.
Yeah, Richardson is definitely be one to watch this season. But another car that was very quick in practice was Darwin Meintz in the 72 car. Darwin was really quick in practice and was atop the leaderboard for most of it. So I think he's another one to watch tonight. But Andrew Hoffert in the 243 is second place, and he's the closest we've seen to Richardson in this qualifying session so far. So it'd be interesting to watch these guys battle it out. Again, 40 laps here at Sebring, but there is a 1 hour, 45-minute time limit. No cautions are technically off, but if there's something that needs to be, the race needs to be stopped for, the caution can get thrown. So full course yellows can technically be in effect, but I doubt we'll see one tonight. So something to keep in mind. Looks like we only have a couple cars left out there. Dan Garber is currently, his best time is a 144.362, so a little over 3 seconds off the leader, Richardson. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen on the Sim TV ticker, you can see the car that we're focused on is highlighted by the fact that it has no relative next to the driver's name. So you can see the seconds before and after that driver and how far he is to the next guy. So Garber is currently 0.8 of a second ahead of Alfred Shepard in the 12 car. All right, Finian, time's up in qualifying, and it looks like Richardson's going to hold on to that pole. And that's not really much of a surprise to me. But going to be 40 laps here. And Richardson on the pole. Let's get them all sorted out and ready to head down to turn 1. So we'll get through our gridding process here shortly and get everyone out on the racetrack. There's the rough RT12 pace car, painted in beautiful iRacing colors. Sitting there on the start-finish line. Full pace lap here at Sebring, so it'll be a couple minutes until we go green. Again, for those watching on YouTube, the green flag time will be in the video description, along with other links such as the point standings and other relevant information. All right, Finian, 40 laps here. Not really a sprint race by any means. This is kind of an enduro for these guys. This is a really hard car to drive. What does it take to drive an IndyCar around here for 40 laps?
Patience, a lot of patience. You know, these laps are gonna keep going on and on. You gotta really keys consistency, honestly, in racing. When it's not a sprint, unless it's like a 5-lap sprint race, you gotta pace yourself and just hit your corners mark after mark.
And for 40 laps around here with tall curbing, you really don't want to use a whole lot of that with these open wheel cars. The suspension is very stiff and they will pogo right off those curbs like nothing you could imagine. So drivers will try to stay away from the curbs and stay off the bumps, but there's a couple of corners that are extremely bumpy, and I think one of those, Finian, is definitely Sunset Bend. That final corner right behind where these cars are gridding, that is one heck of a corner, and it will send your car flying if you're not perfectly lined up. All right, and the RT12 pace car pulls off the line. We have one full pace lap here at Sebring to get these guys all sorted out and ready to go green. So we'll have to keep an eye on all the stories tonight, such as those guys coming over from the Ferrari GT3 Challenge. Cars that we expect to be running very well regardless of their experience level in this car. And a lot of those drivers like Richardson and DeCouger I expect to be challenging for most of the night. Currently working our way through turns 2, 3, and 4. 27 cars on the grid. And Finian, that's one of the biggest fields we've seen in any SCRS championship event all season.
Yeah, and I think what's going to be a great interesting thing, especially for the SCRS guys, you don't have any fenders. So it's a whole different driving principle when you go from having a car with fenders and having a car without fenders. You can be a little more aggressive when you have fenders blocking the wheels in the car. You can give a little shove here and there. If you give a little shove here and there, you're going to damage your car significantly. So it's going to be keeping it clean is going to be a real key.
Another thing to mention, Finian, is we do have penalty points in effect for incidents throughout this season. So 12 incidents, racking up 12 of those things will give you a 5-point penalty, and you can get DQ'd with 20. So you hope to see incident counts low this evening, but as always, close racing and hard-fought battles can sometimes end in sadness for a lot of drivers. So we'll have to keep an eye on those and keep an eye on how many incidents these drivers have. And if any of them disappear suddenly, that's probably where they've gone. Working our way through the far side of the course right now. Looking at your front row of Richardson and Hoffert. One car has not gridded. That is the 46 of Donald Arseth. I'm not sure if he's going to be starting from the pits or not, but currently not on the pace lap, so he's the only driver that is not out there at the moment. Taking a good look at Justin Richardson in that bright green IndyCar. I'm just so surprised that he said he was struggling, because I don't really think taking the pole, with a half-second gap is much of a struggle, but he obviously...
It's struggling in the eyes of Justin Richardson, so...
He's definitely figured out something.
Level.
All right, we're working our way onto the back straight right now. We have one corner left, and we will be going green shortly. 40 laps here, and these lap times about 1 minute and 40 seconds. Kind of a long race. They're not showing about 1 hour and 7 minutes until the conclusion of this one, so it's going to be a little while. But we're going to go up from the blimp cam so you can get a good view of this massive field, because there is a lot of them, and we want to catch any first corner incidents. So out of the last corner, Justin Richardson's going to take him down to the green. And green flag is in the air here at Sebring. Down into turn 1, Richardson's got the lead, but looks like Hoffert's going to take the outside line into turn 1.
Yeah, everyone keeping it nice and calm. No 3 wide so far. Everyone nice 2x2 into turn 1, nice and calm.
Looks like everyone's going to make it out alive, but Richardson's going to hold the lead going into turn 2.
DeCouger's around.
Jonathan DeCouger. Try to see if I can grab him. He's slipping down my relative box here. DeCouger goes around and goes for a loop, so that's an early deficit for him. But Richardson pulls out.
2 more cars off ahead.
Richardson pulls out to an early lead, but a big gaggle of cars behind him. Jordan Teal, Louis Zambelli, Ryan Plourde. All these drivers on top of each other going through the backside of the course. Take a look now at the 66 of Cameron Rich, currently 7th in that zebra-colored machine. Followed by Eric Mickey in the beautifully colored, I must say, Sim TV IndyCar. Very good colors on him.
Oh, we have a crash in the back. Okay, that's how it's loaded up.
So much action. We're trying to keep up with as much as we can. Dan Garber and Ray Huang might have tangled there at the exit of that corner. Another driver here, Steve Ficacci, right now in that black IndyCar. It was a new addition to the SCRS Ferrari GT3 Challenge and did really, really well. But, oh, looks like Ryan Plourde's got some damage on the front nose of that machine.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going around the field. If you look at, I believe it is, trying to get the name here.
Oh, we got a car around behind him again. I'm not sure if that's Skylar Nissel in the 31. Gone for a loop and had some pretty significant damage.
Yeah, one car that's actually pulling to the pits with significant damage is Chris Stauffer. He started, I believe, 13th. He's dropped back all the way to the end of the field. He's now scored in 24th.
Yeah, he's got some major damage to that nose cone. Ryan Plourde also pulls into the pits with major crash damage. But out front, not to take away from Justin Richardson, out to an early lead, a 1.1 second lead. Andrew Hoffert chasing. Oh, we got one going around again. Is that Will Salisbury goes around. Not going to pull you away for any replays because there's too much action this early in the race, but Will Salisbury goes for a spin. He will recover, but now he's under attack from Chad Frankenfield. Kurt Crum and Peter Short in a battle for 4th at the time being. And Justin Richardson still holding on to his 1.1 second lead over Andrew Hoffert. Oh, and it looks like the 18 car is Louis Zambelli gone into the wall. Let's take a look at that, see if we can get a good look at what happened to the 18 car. Down onto the far side of the racetrack, up, just looped it and got into the fence. And Finian, with so much power behind the wheels of these things, you know, looping these cars is probably easier than you'd like it to be, huh?
Oh yeah, definitely. If the car just does not have the grip it needs to put the power down, you can expect it to just snap on you very easily. You gotta really wait until the car is in like relatively stable grip-wise, and then you can be sure to put the power down. But any sooner, and it's gonna be game over.
Another car, again, Will Salisbury, again lost it and drilled the wall at the exit of Sunset Bend, and I think that's probably going to be a retirement most likely. That was a really, really hard impact, so lots of early carnage here. And this might turn into a race of attrition. Well, Andrew Hoffert has not let the 13 of Richardson get away. Following now, the gap is now 8.5 tenths of a second. So Richardson currently holding on to the lead. And way in the back, we got Chris Stouffer back out on the racetrack with Ryan Plourde. So these guys had that early crash damage and pitted and came out right next to each other again. So they're in a deep battle for the 22nd spot.
Yeah, nice to see them soldiering on.
And
After that, it sucks though as a driver, you know, getting the car back on the track, knowing you're in a huge deficit and just trying to get as many points as you can. Yeah,
currently working lap 3, but it looks like their cars are pretty well repaired. So not to take away from any of their race there, but it looks like Richardson is swerving all over the back straight, trying to break the draft from the two trailing cars of Andrew Hoffert and Darwin Meintz. Again, Darwin very quick in practice and was at the top of the board for most of it. We're working the end of lap 3 right now. And Kurt Crum and Peter Short, that battle has not ended, but Cameron Rich and Eric Mickey in a group of 4 behind these two. So 3 cars, or it looks like 4 cars off the track, and looks like maybe another one. Oh, maybe that was just a little bit of a blink there. And 8th place has just swapped hands with Kevin Kosorik and Herbert Engelhart. They just swapped spots for 8th.
Oh, also 2nd place, there's just a pass.
Darwin
Meintz got around.
Yep, Meintz got around Hoffert for 2nd place. I say he's definitely going to be one to watch tonight, Finian. That 72 car of Meintz was soldiering in practice, and I expect him to go chase down Richardson.
Yeah, well, definitely he's doing a good job keeping, now really just going to let Richardson not get too far out ahead. Because if Richardson gets too far out ahead, he's just going to be comfortably strolling along, as we've seen him do in the past. So if you can keep a gap and maintain some pressure, you might see Richardson slip up a bit.
Another driver we're going to want to update you on is Jonathan DeCousier. Has rebounded a little bit from his early crash and has now moved back up to 17th. So great rebound for DeCousier, and doesn't look like he has any damage. So a save for an early spin. And Peter Short is closing in on Andrew Hoffert now. That battle for 2nd is heating up between Darwin Meintz, Andrew Hoffert, and Peter Short. Working through Sunset Bend right now, the end of lap 4. Down on the front straightaway onto lap 5 now. The 15 car is Chad Frankenfield has just swapped spots with a couple of guys. George Angel, Alfred Shepard, Steve Ficacci all in a battle here as well. But DeCousier still climbing his way forward up to 16th now. Looks like Eric Mickey is in the pits. We definitely have to take a look at that and see what happened to Eric.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. He had a really good running.
Already in the pits. We're going to have to go back even farther to find out what happened. Just went straight into the pits, Finian. No crash damage. Wonder if that's a strategy move of some sort, but we shouldn't really be expecting pit stops, should we?
We should be, as far as like pitting early, I don't think so. Pitting on lap 4 or 5, it's kind of early.
That seems early to me as well, but maybe that could be a strategy move that we're watching from Eric. And behind these guys, the leaders, Kurt Crum, Peter Short, Andrew Hoffler, and Cameron Rich, they have been at each other for the last couple laps, working their way now onto the back straight. Peter Short has closed that gap to Hoffert. We'll go on board with Peter. Finian, Sunset Bend in these cars, as we were saying earlier, is so rough. And as we watch the suspension move on the 22 of Peter Short, is there different lines you can take to try to avoid the bumps around here?
From my limited knowledge, if you hit it in just the right spot, you can, but it's really hard to set up that corner in general. So you are going to hit a few bumps here and there. You can minimize them depending on the line, but usually you're going to encounter a few bumps or two.
As we watch Jonathan DeCousier right now work his way to the inside of Sunset Bend around Chad Frankenfield in the 15 car. DeCousier is continuing his climb forward.
We have a spin in the back. Around the back. Peter Short in 4th place. He spun out.
Oh, Peter Short went for a loop. We'll have to take a look at that, see if we can grab that on camera. We'll ride on board with them through this and see what happened here. Oh, just got on the curb, Finian, a little bit too much power and sent him around.
These things is crazy. If the car isn't settled just a bit, the slightest bit, it's gonna end in disaster.
Yeah, but Peter Short has recovered for 6th. Meanwhile, 10th place, Ray Hang has just gotten around Dan Garber, and 13th through 15th, DeCousier is just flying up through this field, Finian. Started up closer to the front and looped it in the first couple laps, second corner, excuse me, and has now climbed his way all the way back up to 13th, and he's still moving very quickly, and has about a second faster lap times than the 5 guys in front of him.
Yeah, if we can get a caution or something, he could possibly get back into this race.
He might have to get a little bit creative because a caution is probably unlikely, but not impossible for sure. Up in front of him, Jordan Teal is right on the heels of, looks like to be Dan Garber. And Garber, another driver from the SCRS Ferrari GT3 Challenge, kind of double dipping here in the IndyCar series.
Great day for him running in 9th place, so he's got a top 10 run going on.
Cars snaked down the back straightaway and in through Sunset Bend once again. We're 7 laps into this one already, Finney, and almost a quarter of the way through.
Yeah, and everybody's already starting to get a little bit sorted out here. You know, get in line single file and just working a consistent lap and just banging them out lap after lap. If you keep pushing or trying to do too much, you're going to end up spinning out and losing off a lot of ground. So if you can just be nice and steady, you should have a decent run.
Yeah, and for those viewers right now on the left-hand side of your screen with your ticker, you can see the bottom 4 drivers, Plurd, Skylar Nissel, Mike Stevens, and Donald Arseth are all retired or out for the time being. 2 laps, 4 laps, 8 laps, and 10 laps behind, respectively. And got a lot going on. DeCousier up to 12th. Still climbing.
Yeah, one car went around in the hairpin and almost was a disaster.
Is that D'Angelo? Oh, wow. Wow, huge crash. D'Angelo has gotten major damage. I'm going to ride on board with D'Angelo here and try to see what happened going into the hairpin. I think that's what you're talking about, Finian. But there is some major damage to the 14 of D'Angelo.
Oh, yeah, you just got into the back.
Oh, just ran into the back. Was that Eric Mickey? Yeah. And pretty severe damage. Lost the entire nose cone, and that car is definitely... I think so as well, and George D'Angelo is currently in the pits. So not a good start for D'Angelo, who's currently leading the AM battle in the Ferrari GT3 Challenge, by the way. That runs on Thursday.
There's a battle going on for 12th.
12th place, DeCousier, Ray Hang, and Jordan Teal all together on the front straight, working lap 8. down into turn 1. DeCougier's going to run around the outside of the 6 car of Ray Hang and get right on the hot on the heels of Jordan Teal. To the outside, almost contact there. That was close. Will he do the over?
Yeah, again, you have to be really careful of being aggressive. If you hit your wing on the tire of another car, it's gonna dent your wing, and you're not gonna have fun with that severe lack of downforce. So, really picking and choosing when to make the move is gonna be key here. Oh,
we got one spinning. Was that Jordan Teal? It looks like it was. The 44 car went around hard. I got to get a look at that. I was panning to a different camera, so I have to get a look at that and didn't quite see it. But did he go off the nose of DeCougier, or did he just... Oh, Finney, it looked like, wow. Big impact there.
Yeah, I can tell on my end, I'm not sure if it
from my end it did, but major damage to the 44 of Teal, but DeCougier continues to climb up forward in 10th. We'll have to take it. If you can get a better look at that for us and let us know what happened there, that'd be great. But that was a questionable contact there. Not sure if DeCougier just misjudged it or what, but behind DeCougier, Chad Frankenfield and Ray Hang are in an intense battle for the 12th spot. All right, Finney, and the list of drivers that have taken one for the team is growing. We have 6 drivers currently 1 lap down or more. And for those watching, yellow is drivers that are on the pit lane right now. So Mickey and D'Angelo not officially retired, but are currently sitting on pit lane receiving crash repairs. Out up front, nothing has changed. Justin Richardson has a 2.6 second lead over the 72 of Mainz. And Andrew Hoffert is a couple more seconds behind, but Richardson still in a commanding lead, almost 10 laps into this one.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised though. I thought he would get off to a much bigger lead at the start of the race based off of his qualifying pace, but 72 is hanging in there, so you know what you said might be true. He does have the pace, it's just a matter of does he have enough pace to catch Richardson is going to be key here, and I mean he has 30 laps to do it, so this will definitely be interesting if he can catch up there.
Yeah, that gap hasn't really increased, like Finney, like as you said, I was expecting it to maybe increase more. So Richardson out to a lead, but that gap really hasn't changed. And right now it's at 2.1 seconds, so it's fluctuating around that 2 second mark. And we'll keep an eye on that battle as it shapes up for the rest of the race. Meanwhile, right now we're looking at the 99 of Thomas Morris and the 16 of Teal, who is just, or excuse me, the 44 of Teal in 16th, who is limping around that damaged machine. I'm surprised I haven't seen him on pit road yet with all that crash damage. So currently you got 20 cars in the lead lap, and it looks like the 95 car has had an exciting moment. And again, we'll grab that replay for you. 95 of Travis Bennett working his way through the S's section of the racetrack. And oh, just got up on the curb, Finian, and might have bottomed out the race car on that and sent him around.
Yeah, that'll do it for you. Oh my. So Darwin is now 2 seconds back. He made up, I believe, 7/10 of a second if I'm doing the math right.
And
that last time by.
And it's closing. And so the last time by, Justin Richardson's lap time was a 1:42.5, and Darwin's was a 1:41.8. So that is correct, Finian. 7/10 of a second was the delta that time by. And Darwin is closing.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Richardson is feeling any pressure now. Is he just trying to get out, or is the car just wearing out the tires? I mean, but yeah, so Darwin is really not giving this up. He's going to keep going at it.
And as I was saying before, the gap is still fluctuating on that 2 second mark, but I'm going to keep an eye on those lap times as we continue throughout this race. We're only going to be about a quarter of the way through it here. The 25% mark is this time by. So it'll be interesting to see how Darwin, his lap time by. Let's see what Richardson's is this time by. Oh, looks like Richardson is in the pit lane, Finian. And Darwin's going to follow him in.
All right, we got pit stops.
The front four are all in pit lane. And Richardson is going to heed the lead up to the 22 of Peter Short. So Short's going to take over for the time being. So the top 7 now in pit road, minus the...
Yeah, everybody seems to be coming in.
And as they leave, Richardson is going to leave out in front of Darwin Mines. But I'd be surprised if that gap didn't shrink a little bit. But it looks like Darwin might not have been as aggressive on the pit lane as the rest of the field follows been behind him. More on pit road. 8th through 14th just entered pit lane. Finian, fuel and tires? Fuel, no tires? What's your option here? What do you think?
I would say you're a bit crazy to not take tires on here because the fuel does you are pitting for fuel, so you're gonna have to fill up the tank. That's about a 6 to 7 second stop, and your tires pretty much take the same amount of time. So unless you're trying to cut the fuel short, if you're going full tank on fuel, just put some tires on.
Yeah, it seems to make sense to me. But let's see if Peter Short comes in this time by. Looks like he was one of the only guys that didn't pit, and currently has a 17-second lead over those that did. So maybe those guys were behind him and hadn't pitted yet. Looks like Herbert Engelhardt has not pitted, and neither has Thomas Morris in the 99. So a couple drivers haven't pitted yet. Steve Ficacci in the 00 back in 11th is also one of those drivers. And here we see the 22 of Peter Short entering pit lane. Long pit lane here at Sebring. You gotta watch that pit exit because those cones will catch you and get you a penalty if you don't pay attention. Here's Herbert Engelhardt. Looks like he's gonna bring it down to the pits this time by as well.
And Peter Short is also in, so
yep,
seems to be cycling out.
And Justin Richardson is gonna take over the lead once again. And looks like that gap is resumed at about 2.1 seconds. So not much change there after the pit stop. All right, and as we are looking down at those that are in pit lane, again, 20th through 27th. So 7 cars are 2 laps down or more. And it looks like the 18 of Luis Zambelli is going to be a lap down, but is currently still on the racetrack. And Steve Ficacci is off the racetrack, which is interesting. Looks like he is retired. Keeping an eye on that battle for the lead.
One battle that's about to actually start heating up is battle for 6th.
Battle for 5th, it looks like, on my end there, Finian. Looks like Cameron Rich and potentially Peter Short. Sir. That battle is shaping up for the time being. As well as back in 12th, Garber and Travis Bennett are also right on each other's tails. Bennett went around earlier on the backside of the course, but is trying to rebound from that early incident. At Coca-Cola Honda. Travis Bennett in the number 95 machine. Chasing down Dan Garber in the Red Bull car. So it's soda versus energy drink, Finian.
Pick your poison.
I'm a Coca-Cola guy myself, so we'll see how this all pans out. But
I mean, yeah, honestly, I go for the Coca-Cola. I've never had Red Bull.
We're totally unbiased here at SimTV. Working lap 13 right now of 40 laps here at Sebring. About 47 minutes left in this one. Gap between the leaders is 1.9 seconds. So last time by, Darwin ran a 141.8 and Justin Richardson ran a 142 flat. So the 72 is still lapping just a little bit quicker than the leader in the 13. Also of note, Finian, fastest lap of the race. Take a guess at who it is.
Ooh, let's see. I'm gonna say Darwin?
That would be correct. The best lap for the 72 car is a 141.799 and a 141.826 for the leader Richardson. So Darwin Mines is quick. All right, got 1 car left in pit road. That's the 28 of Chris Stouffer, but he is now leaving the pits. So everybody that's out on the racetrack right now seems like they've got everything sorted out. And that gap again between the leaders still 1.9 seconds. But Finian, that is still smaller than the 2.5 we were talking about just a couple laps ago.
Yeah, so, you know, it's what's awesome with the amount of time we have left is that anything can happen between these two guys. So it's not over yet, and it's far from it.
Down to 1.8. We're going to pull away from that battle just for now. We're going to take a look at 10th place between Garber and Bennett. That battle is not ended just yet. Travis is still hot on the heels of the 33 of Garber. Riding on board now with the 95. Travis Bennett is from Ponchatoula, Louisiana, and his favorite racetrack on this schedule is Iowa, so it'll be fun to see him at Iowa later this season.
I'm definitely looking forward to Iowa. That's a great track to have IndyCar at.
It is a great track. And Travis, I'm looking at my sheet here, trying to learn everybody so we can, this is the first race, we got a lot of new names to learn. But Travis Bennett drives for Pinnacle Racing with his teammate Thomas Morris in the 99. And looks like, I'm trying to find where Morris is running right now, 13th, so a couple spots behind. So Pinnacle Racing is currently 11th and 13th on the racetrack.
Yeah, it might be 10th now in a bit. He's got to run on Garber.
Got to run on Dan Garber, looking to the outside now. But Garber's going to defend and hold on to that spot into the hairpin. Looking now from the gearbox of the 33. Up front, Finian, while we're watching this battle, the gap has come down to 1.5 seconds. And
he's reeling him in.
Yeah, and Darwin just ran 3/10 faster that time by, so the battle up front is getting close. But right now, this is the closest battle on the racetrack between these two drivers for 10th. And DeCouger Finian has rebounded all the way back up to 9th, so great rebound for the 38 of DeCouger.
Oh, one thing I just actually remembered. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but these guys do have push to pass.
You are correct, Finian. Push to pass here is going to be useful for these drivers if they remember to use it. There was some discussion in the Discord. A lot of drivers forgot that they had that, and I did as well.
Honestly, when I started driving these cars, I forgot that they brought them over from the DW12. I thought they got rid of it. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be a strategy using it. Do you use it periodically, or do you want to save it all for the end of the race?
I think it really depends on how your race is. I think if you're all alone, you're obviously not going to want to use it, but I think if you're in the position of the 95 of Travis Bennett, as he is now, 3/10 behind the 33 of Garber, I think you're going to use it now. You're going to get yourself ahead, and that way you're not following the tire track. Says, oh, the 95 goes around, spins it out, light contact with the wall, but he's going to have to wait for a couple of drivers to get by, and he's going to pull back out onto the course. So, yeah, spent a little bit too long behind the 33 and just looped it.
Looks like you got some grass.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of grass on the entry to the corner, and that'll send you around. And up front, Finian, the gap is underneath a second.
I think what you should do is cue the Jaws music.
If I had the Jaws music sound effect, I'd be playing it right now. 9/10 of a second between the leader of Justin Richardson and the 13 for Positive Sim Racing, and the 72 of Darwin Mintz. I'm going to reference my cheat sheet here if I can find them. Over 30 entries, so that's the Speed Asylum race team. Also includes Andrew Hoffert and Kevin Kosirik and Darwin himself. So, yeah, big team there for Speed Asylum. 7/10 of a second now the gap. Right on board with the 72 for a little bit. Get his perspective of chasing down the 13 of Richardson. And Richardson, again, we thought, we were expecting him to come in here a little bit as an underdog, but has certainly shown his strength today. I wouldn't ever count him out, but with the 72 closing, this is going to heat up quick.
Yeah, and another battle that's also going to just about heat up is DeCouger's caught the 8th place of Herbert Engelhart.
Panning over to DeCouger, yeah, he's closed up on Engelhart, and he is right there, about 4/10 of a second behind him. And DeCouger should be continuing his climb up through the field.
Yeah, it really amazes me is how much he's climbed up through the field. I mean, we're only 16 laps in. We're almost halfway. We're not at halfway yet. He spun on the first lap and he's come up all the way, cracked the top 10, and he's probably going to go after more. So great performance by him. It really would have been amazing to see if he didn't spin out, how if he could have been up and battling for the lead.
Yeah,
So solid pace from DeCouser.
not to take anything away from the 38 of DeCouser, but if you look down at the the bottom left of your screen, as another one just joins the dust there, 18th through 27th, 9 cars out with crash damage. So, you know, that helps the climb certainly, but definitely not to take away from DeCouser's impressive climb this evening. Down the back straightaway, drafting off the 29 of Herbert Engelhart. He's going to look underneath him, but not going to have enough to do it that time by. Up front, the gap has increased a little bit back to 1.3 seconds. Richardson ran a 141.5 and Darwin ran a 141.820. So 0.3 quicker for Richardson that time by. And this group with Engelhart and DeCouser is caught. The 39 of Kevin Kucyrik. Whoa, and looks like the 39 is going to go around. Going to take it for a loop.
Oh, that is really unfortunate for him. Let's see if he can get it back around.
Yep, gets it back around, only loses a couple spots. So gets the grass off his tires and gets back at it. DeCouser looks underneath the 29, but not going to be able to get it done again. He's been working on him for a couple laps now, but now he's going to look to the inside, and it looks like Herbert's going to move over and just let him take that spot. So change for 7th now. And DeCouser is up back to where he belongs. And his climb continues. All right, Finian, I got news on the leaders.
Oh, do you know?
That time by, Darwin was 0.3 quicker, and the gap is back down to 0.8 seconds. And closing again. So I'm a little bit surprised by, ooh, 29 car. Oh, maybe that was just a little bit of a blink there. Disappeared off my telemetry for a second. Excuse me, the 72 car has just been back and forth with the 13 last couple laps in terms of speed and pace. So they're very equal to each other. Now, as we've said in the Ferrari GT3 Challenge, getting to some guy is one thing. Getting past him is a whole other thing. And we know how wide Richardson can make his car when he wants to defend.
Yeah, he definitely can, but and it's gonna be interesting because, you know, again, you can't, the aggression has to be turned on a lot from other types of cars. Open wheel racing, you gotta give each other a decent amount of space, and you can't be too overly aggressive. So it's gonna be interesting how these guys fight it out. You know, the lead of a race is at stake here, but there is also 22 laps to go.
Yeah, 22 laps to go, and that gap still hanging around 0.8 of a second. We'll keep an eye on that one as we have been doing. Jump on back to taking a look at DeCouser. He's got about a 6.5 second gap to make up to the 2:43 of Andrew Hoffert, who started second in this race. Hoffert had fallen down a little bit through the pit cycle and now finds himself in the 6th position. But then after Hoffert, Finian, it's looks like a 16 second gap up to the next guy. That would be Cameron Rich in the 66. So if DeCouser wants to make up any more spots, he's going to have to find something extra in that car, or hope for some act of God to bring upon a full course yellow, which I still find unlikely.
Yeah, well, we've talked about acts of God in the past, and they've almost happened, so we need to be careful where we trend our words. And I was looking at the lap times last time by 0.15 seconds. Darwin was faster, so...
that is correct. Last time by.
Coming in ever so closely. I really wish we had the telemetry data for their push-to-passes to see how much they have left or if they've used them.
Yeah, I think I probably could get that. I'll have to look into that. I'm using Joel Real Timing. Thanks to those guys, by the way, for giving us excellent telemetry data to look at, and ATVO for giving us all our information this evening. Excellent groups working on these free additions to iRacing, so great thanks to them. Finian, I think there might be a way to get push-to-pass information. I'll look into that for the next round. But that could certainly be useful broadcasting these races. And the battle for third getting a little hot here. Peter Short Closing in a little bit on Kurt Krum, ran 2/10 faster that last lap as we approach halfway. And Kurt Krum fitting another driver who is kind of triple dipping, drives in the Audi R8 GT Cup and the Ferrari GT3 Challenge for SCRS.
Yes, he does. And actually, wait, now that I think about it, he's actually quadruple dipping because he also races in another series we covered.
Oh, almost forgot about that.
The
CRCL.
Porsche 911. Yep.
Yeah, that CRCL is a Porsche 911 GT3 Cup Series that runs not every Friday night, but every couple Fridays. You can look for that information on iRacing's league statistics and their website there, so you can look to join that. They're looking for more entries for Friday's race, which is at Barber Motorsports Park. So if those are looking to drive the Porsche 911, go check out that league. We'll be broadcasting that on Friday night.
Yeah, he's a busy man.
Yes, he is.
Four different series.
And Richardson right now trying to work his way through a little bit of lap traffic. And he's going to get around. That's a 6 of Ray Hang there. But it gets...
Yeah, good on Ray for just for letting the leaders by.
Yeah, but I think that did allow Darwin Mines to get a little bit closer. And he has reeled in Richardson. They were pretty much dead even last time by, but that gap is 4/10 now. And now he's going to be well within the draft area, so he can reel him in on the backstretch here. And Finian, this time is flying by. We're almost halfway through the race at this point. This time by will be halfway, 20 laps to go.
And the action's just about to get started here. These guys have 20 laps to sort this one out.
Riding on board with the 72 of Mainz through Sunset Bend over the bumps. And Richardson heading to the pits.
Oh, and that's an interesting move.
All right. So Mainz is going to take over the lead as Richardson goes in for a second pit stop. Not going to lie, I wasn't expecting these guys to be pitting as much. I don't have a whole lot of experience with the IndyCar and how long it can run on fuel. But
yeah, no, I was running the numbers earlier. I thought it was gonna be a two-stop race. I thought they would be able to make it about 13 laps on a tank, but it turns out it's gonna be a three-stop race. So
interesting. Okay, I don't know a whole lot about IndyCars and their fuel mileage and all that. I'm just broadcasting them. So as the season goes on, hopefully I can learn more about that. But Richardson jumping into the pit surprised me a little bit, and Kurt Krum has taken over that second spot from Peter Short. But Short is still right on his tail, and they themselves are working through some lap traffic.
Okay, so it seems like Dustin Richardson's going to try to work the undercut to put some distance between him and Darwin. So we'll see if his strategy works out in the under. Will Darwin start putting down some better laps with some clean air in front of him?
We'll keep an eye on their lap times. The last lap by, Darwin was a 10th quicker, so these guys still just matching each other's pace as this race goes on.
Well, if we look back to third, Kurt and Peter are still relatively close to each other. These guys, I believe, are the closest on the track.
Yeah, Kurt Krum and Peter Short still battling it out for that second spot now. About 13 seconds. I was about to say a couple seconds. Put that 14 seconds behind the 72 of Darwin Mines, your current leader. And I'm interested if he's going to be heading into the pits. It looks like he is.
Yes, he is.
So put Mainz in pit road, and another update on the fastest lap. Mainz ran it just again a few laps ago with a 141.4. So Darwin still holding the fastest lap.
All right, I have an eyes on Richardson. He's just entering Sunset.
Let's ride on board with Richardson and see where he pops out in front of Darwin Mainz. So Darwin's back up to pit speed and is accelerating.
Oh,
and it looks like Richardson's going to blow by him there. And Mainz now has the Coca-Cola machine. I have to remind myself who that is. Looks like... Whoop. We have trouble?
Travis got himself in the wall.
Travis Bennett in the 95? Well, yeah, yes, he did. That's where he ran around earlier, isn't it?
I believe so.
I think so. Let's take a look at that, see what happened. Oh, just got in there way too hot. That was never gonna work. Went in the corner with way too much momentum and way too much speed, and just car got out from underneath him. So an unfortunate spin for Bennett. And he's still sitting prone, and he's going to look like he's going to reset back to the pits. So Kurt Crum has also gone to pit road, looks like, leaving Peter Short in the 22 out front. And the delta between Justin Richardson and Darwin Meintz is 1.4 seconds, give or take a few tenths. And Jonathan DeCouger is still sitting in 8th, so again, having a good day. He's already made his second pit stop. So DeCouger recovering from that early spin that could have really put him down, and especially when you consider all the carnage that happened. We have 10 cars out right now. All the carnage that happened, I'm amazed that climbing his way back up through there, he didn't get himself in any trouble.
Yeah, so great job by DeCouger.
Wouldn't expect anything less out of the 38 of Jonathan DeCouger. Consistently fantastic driving from him and all the stuff that he races. Currently have 14 cars on the lead lap. First lapper being the 6 of Ray Hang. And Ray has made his second pit stop already.
Ooh, Peter Short and Kurt Crum are battling.
Oh, wow. Peter Short comes out of the pits, and they are battling side by side here into turn 2 and 3. But
wow, Short almost had him. They were side by side as they were heading down to turn 2. But Crum just got around him, but I think Peter is going to be within some drafting range to catch back up.
Yeah, Peter Short exits the pits right behind Kurt Crum, where he was when he entered. So that position stays put for the time being.
And I think this battle got a lot closer than Crum wanted it to. Yeah, so he's going to have to be dealing with this for a few laps.
Yeah, he's going to have to really work hard to get himself back away from the 22 Peter Short, who has been kind of, we haven't talked a whole lot about him today, but he's been consistently running quick laps. His best time is only 3/10 off of the fastest. So he is another driver to keep an eye on throughout the rest of the season. Another thing, Finian, that we should remind the viewers is that this is a combined oval and road course series, which is new for us. We haven't done any oval broadcasts yet, and that's a very different skill set.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited too, because when I started out on iRacing, I've been primarily an oval racer, and I went over to the road side of things, so it's kind of a return back home to me. So it'll definitely be awesome to see these things. And IndyCars and ovals are amazing with the drafting that goes on, so it should be awesome to watch them next week.
Yeah, definitely
next race.
Definitely looking forward to this. And battle for 7th is heating up between the 243 of Hoffert and the 38 of DeCouger. DeCouger continuing his climb. And Hoffert was the car that started 2nd place and has just slipped ever so slightly down the rankings up all the way up until lap 24. Here we are right now. DeCouger looks to the inside on the end of the back straightaway and is going to complete that pass heading into Sunset Bend. And Hoffert's going to run a little bit wide, clip a couple cones and send him flying, but he's going to give that spot up to DeCouger and move DeCouger up to 7th.
I don't know if he was trying to just go wide. He's probably trying to set up the front stretch and get a little bit of a draft, and he's going to look to the inside.
And that position's going to swap back. Move Hoffert back to 6th, it looks like, because we had a driver in pit road there. So this is now the battle for 6th, and DeCouger's going to go to the inside and complete that pass again.
Swap.
Those drivers swapped 3 times in about 5 corners. Great driving by these two.
Yeah, I think Hoffert's definitely going to want that spot back. DeCouger wants to get away, and he's like, no, sir.
Yeah, we'll see if Hoffert can hold on to that draft from DeCouger and see if he can make a move on the back straight. But DeCouger has pulled away just a little bit, just about 9/10 of a second back to DeCouger. So DeCouger has pulled away quickly after those positions swapped. And out up front, nothing much has changed. 1.5 seconds, the difference between the two leaders. Richardson was faster that last lap by about 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, Peter Short is a silk on the backside of Kurt Crum.
Yeah, Peter Short, last time by, last time by was 2/10 quicker than the 7 of Kurt Crum, so have to keep an eye on this battle because this might get a little bit hotter. Although that time by was 1/10 slower, so Peter Short and that gap of 0.6 of a second to Crum will be ever ebbing and flowing just as the leaders has for the majority of this race. All right, Finian, the death count is up to 11. 16th through 27th are out of the race, or more than 2 laps down. So a really high attrition rate for tonight, which is not something I can say I was expecting. I was expecting this to go relatively cleanly, but those first couple laps had so much action and so much carnage that it took out a lot of front runners early on. Steve Ficacci among them. George D'Angelo.
I think everybody's a little antsy start of a new season. Relatively new cars to the service. These things have only been out for about a month now, I want to say. So everybody's still getting used to this. And this track's also really difficult to drive, and is not a track these cars usually come to. So just a lot of news for these guys. It's going to probably take out a few guys here and there.
Yeah, I think probably growing pains for both the series and for the drivers as we all get used to the new car and some tracks that these cars haven't been on before, Sebring being one of them. This track is not typically one you associate with IndyCar racing, but I think it's put on a pretty good show so far. And we're 26 laps in, about 25 minutes remaining, estimated time, of course. .3 seconds the gap to the leaders from Justin Richardson to Darwin Meintz, and Meintz was 0.3 faster again. So, Finian, again, these guys are just trading back and forth. Does this get frustrating for the 72 to be chasing down Richardson and seeing him get closer and farther and closer and farther? Is there a point when you get frustrated as that trailing driver?
At times, yes, because you know, especially earlier on, he had the pace and he was making the ground up. And now you're kind of stuck in a stalemate where you're giving it your all, but it's just not enough to catch Richardson. And yeah, seeing the back and forth, you know, you kind of just want to get up there as soon as you can, get past him. But what really separates a good driver from a great driver is being able to control your emotions, control that frustration, and get your head down and just start putting some laps down. Don't make any mistakes. And usually the lap times come out from that. So we'll see if Darwin can just at least maintain the gap, because he is extremely close to Richardson. So if Richardson makes one slight mess up, or and he messes up one corner or goes wide, Darwin's there to pounce on him. So if he can at least maintain the gap, that'll be really great for him.
I think another thing is you see these drivers snaking their way on the backstretch, Richardson trying to break the draft. I think if you can stay in Richardson's head, if you can stay in his mirror and make him watch his relative, you can force him into a mistake, especially when they get closer like they were earlier. You could force the lead driver into a mistake by just being in his mirror and playing with them. And head games here, Finian, can sometimes win you a race. So we'll keep an eye on that battle, of course. But the battle for third is still hot, with Kurt Crum and Peter Short just still going at it. And we've seen all these localized battles the whole race. Drivers, you know, 3rd and 4th and 9th and 10th and 12th and 13th, just going back and forth and swapping spots the whole race. But Peter Short closed right up to the rear bumper of Kurt Crum. I say bumper, these cars don't have much of one. But Peter Short not pulling the pressure away from the 7.
Yeah, it really is just stay on the tail of the dude ahead of you and just pray and hope that he makes the mistake.
Watching on board now with the 22, Peter Short. Looking at my list of information to see if I can find him on here again. A big list, a lot of new names. Trying to get used to everybody. Peter Short, part of Eisentech Enterprises. Teammates with Jordan Teal, Cameron Rich, and Drew Eisenman, who I don't believe is here tonight. So Jordan Teal out with crash damage from earlier. And Cameron Rich currently behind him in 5th. So Eisentech Enterprises team pretty well represented here tonight. That battle subsides for now, about a half-second gap between those drivers. And DeCouger and Hoffert, that battle has ended for now, 1.5 seconds back to Hoffert from DeCouger. So that battle subsided. And DeCouger all the way back up to 6th. Again, we've said it so many times, but I think it's just worth saying, I mean, how impressive that run was from the back to the front. So great job from him for that. And out up front, last time by, identical laps.
Yeah, they're in a stalemate right now.
142.039 to a 142.071 for the 72. So These guys back and forth, just continuing to just match each other's pace. And I think, you know, this wouldn't be any different if we swapped these two guys. I think we'd see the same situation with Richardson kind of stuck in no man's land behind the 72 of Mainz if they were to have their position swapped. So I think the frustration could go both ways. And I think Mainz just needs a little bit of help, maybe from some lap traffic or something, to close in and be on the attack for the 13 positive sim racing machine.
Yeah, well, the lap traffic is not going to come for a while because currently the next lap traffic is on the back straightaway. So he's got hope on a lot more than just lap traffic if he wants to get some extra help. But yeah, it really comes down to, I'm really curious as to how many push to passes they have left. Because if Richardson hasn't used any, he can just defensively just
away.
Unless
down the back.
it's a little to watch.
Whoop, we got a little garbled there. Your internet or my internet, one of the two. But
sorry, yeah, it's calling on my end.
Richardson, yeah, as you were saying, if he has any push to pass left or if he hasn't used any of it, yeah, that's a huge advantage to him. The fact that if he hasn't used any, he's still got all that left. I'm going to just mention this. This isn't really super relevant because it's a league race, but I will say Richardson's iRating is a 48.31 right now, and Darwin Mainz is a 27.53. So in terms of iRating versus performance, Darwin Mainz has surprised me a lot, especially because Kurt Krum behind him is a 4,007. So Mainz is battling with guys right now that we wouldn't necessarily expect him to be. So great early showing from Mainz.
Oh, Peter Short's around.
Peter Short. And he has spun it and looped it. Finney, is that the exit of turn 1?
Yes, it is. He was, if you want to go back a little bit, he was working around a lap car.
All right, we're going to go take a look and see if we can find that. There he is, working down the front straightaway. And working his way around a lap machine behind Kurt Krum. Was there contact? Nope, just got loose underneath him, Finian, and just went for a slide. And almost got drilled by another machine rocketing out of turn 1. That's a tricky corner to recover from because it's very blind. And cars coming around it can't really tell. The only thing they have to tell them is the caution flag.
That moves Cameron Rich. We haven't talked about him much today. He's moved up to 4th place now, so if he can keep it just maintaining, solid 4th place for him.
Yeah, Cameron Rich in the 66 has a interesting zebra painted machine, very white and black and striped. And the last time I just had him zoomed in here on TV3, Finian, and the brake rotors on that car, those carbon ceramics working hard to slow down the 66. You see them, they're blowing there again. Brakes working hard here at Sebring, lots of fast straightaways and high speed action. So brakes working hard, drivers working hard. An exhausting 40 laps. We're going to be 10 to go next time by as we work lap 30. And the gap is 1.1 seconds from Richardson to Mainz.
Yeah, and he went 2/10 faster this time by. Oh my god, it's amazing. These guys are just like trading blows back and forth. But no one's made any ground.
Now, so, I think aero push is something we would talk about at an oval, but do you think here at Sebring it'll play a part when Mainz gets closer?
I kind of want to say something, but I don't know enough about these cars on the road side of things. Definitely on ovals, the aero push is completely obvious, but on the road course, I'm not too sure how much aero push there is, so I don't want to say anything false. But I would, because typically, and we usually see this in Formula One, due to the huge amount of aero those cars depend on, but these cars do depend on a bit of it, so we can expect a little bit, but I don't think it's too significant where it's extremely hard to pass people. I think usually the draft just helps enough to suck you up to another car, and then if you usually make a pass before the braking zone.
Well, we have a battle for the lead, Finian, 0.7 of a second, and Richardson is swerving to try to break that draft. Mainz is closing and closing quickly. And now I guess we're going to see if that aero push becomes a problem. Finian, my prediction would be that in the higher speed corners it would really throw you off, but again, we have yet to see as they both follow each other into pit lane.
Ooh. Last pit stop, and wow, Darwin comes right up to the end of Richardson.
So 10 to go here as they cross the line. Do you try to gamble and maybe take just about a half gallon or a gallon less fuel to try to leapfrog the 13?
If you can, yes, but if you did your math right, you can definitely do it. If you did your math wrong, I don't think you're going to be wanting to putt around Sunset Bend towards the end. As Darwin gets a jump on Richardson in the pits, this might be big. They are side by side out of the pits.
Oh, side by side.
Darwin to the lead.
Out of the pits, and this hopefully will cycle out and put the 72 in the lead, but we're going to watch this battle because this outlap is going to be a very important outlap for these drivers. Cold tires, and you're going to have to be careful, but not too careful because this is where the winner of the race is going to be decided, Finian.
Yeah, I think Darwin's guys in the pits, they're going to be giving each other high fives. Great stop from him, so that seemed to have put him out on the lead.
Now, this is where we ask the question. Do you think he got enough fuel?
For his sake, I hope he does.
I hope so as well, but Richardson is going to be hard charging here, and you don't have any room to save if you didn't get it packed full of fuel. So hopefully the fuel calculator was right this time by, and we're going to see this battle pan out. Crum currently leading, but that'll cycle out as soon as he goes to pit lane. Other drivers that have pitted, Cameron Rich is pitted, Chris Stouffer, Will Salisbury. And it looks like that's all that time by. Everyone else has to make one more pit stop to make it to the end. So we'll watch these guys battle it out, and Richardson's going to have a whole back straightaway here to close in and try to get back by the 72. Down a long back straightaway, drafting. Mine's using the lap traffic, and Richardson trying to stay in that slipstream. This will cycle out to be the battle for the lead eventually. You got lap traffic to work with to help you out. Richardson's going to look to the inside, get out of the mirrors of the 72, but obviously that's not going to fool him from that far back. Richardson goes a little bit wide out over the curbing onto the dirt, kicks up some dust. And that means Richardson is driving as hard as he can.
Yeah, no, he really got to push as much as he can here, and he's just trying to give it his all. I was gonna honestly ask you about that. Do you want to wait when you're that close and Richardson has shown he has? Oh wait, no, hold on, we got to move.
Contact with the leaders. Oh. Richardson goes around. Darwin Mites is going to get away. Finian, I gotta say, from my perspective, he made a little bit of a late move there, but I think it was fair. He definitely established himself on the inside. But contact between what will shape out to be lead. What's your opinion on that contact?
I would kind of call that a racing incident. Yeah, Richardson was definitely in there, but I don't think Darwin anticipated him coming in there like that. Like either side of the median. It's a tough call on that. I think it's just a racing incident.
Watching the replay on board with the 13 of Richardson right now. Ooh, I think from this perspective, yeah, I think the 72 might have surprised the 13 with that braking. I think maybe braking a little bit earlier than Richardson was expecting, but either way, an unfortunate incident between the two drivers that will cycle out to be the lead as Kurt Crum heads to pit lane. And Mainz will take over the lead in the 72. Well, we knew the lead was going to get exciting. We knew there was positions could be swapped. I just wasn't expecting it to quite be like that.
Oh yeah, I didn't expect it to be that early.
I think what you're talking about, does Richardson wait and make the move later, or does he make the move now? And I think the move was literally right now.
He answered that for me, so.
Didn't have to wait too long for that. Richardson is now 2.8 seconds back, and he's going to have 7 laps to try to cut into that gap a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on those lap times and see if Richardson can close in. He drops a wheel off track again, driving really hard. Another thing, Finian, the incident count, I'm not really sure what these guys are up to. I don't think they've been off track too much, but I think Richardson got at least a 2x there. So got to watch those incidents, make sure you don't get yourself a points penalty, because that's a bigger difference than finishing second to first if you lose those 5 points from incidents.
I think he's slightly preoccupied with more than incidents. I think he sees the leader up there ahead who got into a little scuffle with it. I think he's just trying to drive as fast as he can back up there. I think in his mind it's incidents be damned at this point.
I think you're probably right about that, but that gap, Finian, 3 seconds now, 3.1, and doesn't seem to be getting any smaller. We'll watch the deltas this time by as they cross the line.
Yeah, all I can say is, if you have push to passes left, you should be pressing that button as much as possible.
Yeah, I don't think Richardson will be holding back at all with push to pass at this point, but the question is, does he have it left, or was he using it earlier? Probably not, but there's always a potential.
Yeah, we're going to find out in a few laps if we can get back up there.
And another update on the dead field, 15th through 27th, so 12 cars out of the race with crash damage, disqualifications, or other. So almost half the field out with problems. So
yeah, this is a tricky track to, honestly, this is a tricky track to drive in sports cars, which is what it's designed for. And I would say for open wheel cars, it's an even tougher challenge.
Yeah, that's definitely true, Finian. This is a tricky track to tackle. So it looks like this has caught out a lot of drivers, maybe unsuspectingly, maybe didn't practice enough, maybe got into someone else's incidents, but a lot of factors can take you out here. And 12 drivers, they're racing.
Oh, Richardson spun.
Richardson spun, and oh, he's in the wall. Looks like he might have, oh, he's got some big damage to that front wing. We're definitely going to have to get a replay of that. And I think that ends.
Yeah, I think, he got loose coming out of the corner.
I think that ends the battle of, oh yeah, just too much power, and got into that wall pretty hard. But I think that ends the battle of Richardson versus Meintz for at least this race. But he's still holding on to second, so it's not, all is not lost.
Yeah, hopefully, I was going to say, I wasn't able to see the damage. Is it just to his front wing?
Yeah, left front wing is damaged pretty heavily, but other than that, it'll be drivable for a couple laps. I think he'll make it. It'll be 5 to go this time by. Or we'll see. I wonder if Kirk Crum knows of the shenanigan that just went on, so if he's gonna be going a little extra harder. Yeah, but again, you got to be careful with getting on throttle. Try to catch the guys in front of you, because as we can see what happened to Richardson. And you know what the sad part is, Finian?
What's that?
The sad part was that Richardson's best lap was really close. Just under a tenth off of Meintz. So Richardson had picked it up and ran his best lap a few laps prior to that incident. So Richardson was on the charge, and it's going to end. I mean, I don't want to say sad, but I think when you've been leading most of the race, I think a second place is pretty disappointing. So I don't think he'd be too happy with that. But Meintz leading, 15 seconds over Richardson, Crum, Peter Short, Cameron Rich, DeCousier, Hoffert, Kevin Kosarik, and Herbert Engelhart, and Will Salisbury. That's your top 10. All your positions are on the left-hand side of the screen. First through 27 entries. Watching your leader, Darwin Meintz, work his way through the backside of the course towards the back straightaway. Will Salisbury closing in a little bit on Herbert Engelhart, and a little bit slower that last time by, but might be within draft range here, 7 to 8 tenths back from Engelhart. So let's see if he can make that work. But as we talk about that, the leader, Darwin Meintz, going to work his way out of Sunset Bend. 5 to go this time by, 5 laps to go in the first round of the 2018 SCRS IndyCar World Series here at Sebring. Now, Finian, from the 72's perspective, Darwin Meintz the leader. This is probably just a take-it-easy moment, right? He's got 15 seconds on Richardson. He doesn't need to push. Do you think he risks it and pushes for a little extra speed and just in case something happens, or do you think he just takes it easy?
Just take it easy. There's no reason to push. I think, though, it would be even worse. You would feel even worse if you have a 15-second lead and you just spin yourself out or get yourself into an incident. So just right now, just take it easy. Just hit your marks as clean as you possibly can. Don't try to get any extra incidents, and just take it home. You got about 5 laps to go, even less than that. So just take it easy. Act like you're on a Sunday drive.
I think that's probably what he's going to be doing, although a Sunday drive for him was a 141.981, which is 0.7 of a second faster than Richardson ran that last time. and 0.6 of a second faster than third place Kurt Crum. So Sunday drive for Mainz is quick. And Vettel for fourth, heating up here between Cameron Rich and Peter Short. Peter Short on the attack on the 66 of Rich in that Zebra machine. It almost looks like the that camo they put on new cars when they're trying to hide the shapes. But Peter Short on the attack.
And yeah, I think there's a certain car that's lingering back there that's enjoying this, and his name begins with a Jonathan.
I see him too. Jonathan DeCouger in the 38 car ran a little bit faster than Peter Short and a little bit slower than Cameron Rich. So we'll see if, I mean, it's a big gap to close up. But if those guys get any closer and battle harder, that's DeCouger's definitely in the catbird seat for a top 5. Also,
yeah,
what is a catbird seat? I've heard that term. I don't even know what that means. Michael Waltrip says it, so it's got to be accurate, right?
Honestly, you should ask him what that means, like the textbook definition of a catbird seat.
Nothing Google can't solve, and 22 Peter Short is going to go around Cameron Rich for 4th, so move Peter Short in the 22 up to 4th, and Cameron Rich back to 5th. Cameron Rich, again, part of the Isentech Enterprises team, new to SCRS competition, putting on a good show today. Sorry.
I'm looking at their last lap times. I think Peter Short had an incident. His last lap is showing a 1:53, which is about 13 seconds off, or like 11 seconds off of the usual pace.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I think he had an incident.
Yeah, we'll try to see and figure out what happened to Peter Short. But meanwhile, up front, 16-second gap to Rich's, and Darwin Mainz has just checked out. You can see the entire back straightaway behind Mainz is empty, so he's just taken off with that lead. Richardson still commanding second by, looks like about 6 seconds, so he's not in danger of losing that spot. 3 to go this time by. Best lap still goes to your leader with a 141.466. And 14 cars still in the running. And Ray Heng is the last vehicle on the racetrack still in running operating condition. He's a lap down along with the 29 of Herbert Engelhart, Will Salisbury, Chris Stouffer, Thomas Morris, and Alfred Shepard. I believe Alfred Shepard, I'm not sure if he was the one. No, I'm thinking of Donald Arseth in the 46. One of those two drivers didn't qualify and didn't get out there on the pace lap, but I believe that was a 46. He didn't even start the race. So that was not Alfred Shepard. My mistake there. And Finian, the 38 car, Jonathan DeCouger. We were talking about him just a few moments ago. He has closed up on the 66.
He wants a top 5 finish.
And he is bound and determined to get it. He's right on the rear tailpipe, I suppose, of the 66 of Cameron Rich. I didn't even know what you call the back of these things. The rear wing of the 66. How about that? DeCouger closes in for 5th, and it looks like he is definitely quicker. Last time by, it looks like Rich had a slow lap. DeCouger was 1.2 seconds faster that time by. So Rich might have had an exciting lap. He's right on board with DeCouger. Working their way through the S's and onto the back straight.
Alright, now I got a question for you. So you see, you put yourself into DeCouger's position. Okay, you see 2 cars ahead of you, 5th and 4th respectively. And so do you try to work around the car that's currently in front of you as fast as you can and then just push it like hell to try to get the car ahead of you? And potentially make a mistake, or do you just try to take the driver ahead of you and call it a day?
if I was in DeCouger's perspective right now, I think DeCouger has had one heck of a race. I don't want to throw it away. I say just try to get by the 66 of Rich and just leave it there, because he could have had a very bad race and made a very good race out of it, but they're battling deep into turn 2. Rich is going to run wide. DeCouger's going to stick it to the inside, side by side over the curbs. Rich is going to hold on to it for now. But DeCouger's still right on the rear wing of Cameron Rich. This is all with 2 laps to go. Next time by will be white flag. DeCouger right up under the gearbox of the 66 car. Closest battle on the racetrack that we can see. DeCouger is all over the curbing, trying to use every inch of the racetrack to get up on the rear bumper of the 66. And Finian, again, a comeback is a major understatement for DeCouger. And as you see Cameron Rich get a little bit loose there, DeCouger might be able to take advantage, goes to the outside. Rich is going to take the short way around. DeCouger's going to go the long way around into the S's. DeCouger's got the preferred line. 66 can run wide over the curb, and he's going to surfboard it. And Peter Short loses it as well.
Oh, but DeCouger loses it.
And DeCouger spins out. He had 2 spots, and they're gone now. And while all this is happening, out front, we're on the last lap.
Oh, that is really unfortunate for DeCouger.
Yeah, Finian, that's... DeCouger went Hail Mary into that corner to try to take up the 66 car spot, and when Peter Short looped it, it probably distracted him enough to loop himself. But
yeah, no, there was I could looking at that, I don't think there's any way he could have made the corner at that rate of speed, trying to because you want to typically go left to make the right turn and set up the car for that. But a car, when you're just in the middle of turning at such a high rate of speed, you see a car just parked in the middle of the track, it's just going to end in disaster. So I will say good on him for not avoiding Peter, but it's really unfortunate that he spun out there.
Well, and on the bright side, he's exactly where he was a lap ago, just farther back from the leader. So DeCouger is going to hold on to 6th, it looks like. But while that's all happening behind the leader, Darwin Mines, the 72 car, what a race from him. Perfect, didn't make any mistakes. Had a little bit of contact with the 13 of Justin Richardson from the outside position, but for the first round, Darwin Mines in the 72 car is going to take the victory here at Sebring. What an impressive race. We'll try to get him in the Discord in a minute to get an interview from him, but meanwhile, Justin Richardson going to limp it home. Again, can't be upset with this, but a 2nd place after leading almost the entire race, got to be disappointing to Justin.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of disappointment, but could have been a hell of a lot worse, so I think he's definitely happy to at least be taking home 2nd.
Yeah, and Kurt Crum's going to bring home 3rd, solid 3rd for him. And on the back straight, Peter Short and Cameron Rich are not done fighting yet. They spent a lot of the race battling each other, but Peter Short leads Rich into the final corner. Over the bumps, he's going to hold it together. And Peter Short's going to take home 4th. Give that spot to him. Cameron Rich 5th. And DeCouger out of the final corner. Going to bring home a solid 6th place after a eventful race. An onboard camera replay from him would have been really cool to watch him climb through the field like that. But Andrew Hoffert going to bring home 7th. And the rest of the field behind him, Kevin Kosirik in the 39, Herbert Engelhart going to bring home 9th. And your finishing order is on the left-hand side of your screen there, Finian. And the viewers here, the first round of the SCRS IndyCar World Series. An impressive race by a lot of these drivers, but also a lot of heartbreak for almost half the field. So hopefully the next round we can clean things up a little bit and get more cars finishing. But Finian, what a great race. And the storylines heading into the next couple weeks are certainly going to be interesting. But let's go to break real quick. Let's try to grab our race winner, and we'll be right back. right, and we're back. Jonathan DeCousier. Jonathan, you had a loop early on. I think it was lap 1, turn 2 or 3. You went for an early spin, but you recovered all the way back up to 6th. First off, congratulations, great drive. And second, what was it like climbing through the field with such a big field and a lot of carnage happening early on?
Yeah, the first turn 2 or 3 there, I just got a little excited under braking, and I had to sit there and watch everybody drive by. It was fun to look at all the paint jobs. And I just put my head down and started trying to just be consistent for my pace. And I got lucky with some guys spinning out. Was able to make up a few spots on that, pick a few more off, and keep it clean almost till the very end there, where I overshot a corner and spun again. But it is what it is, and I'll take my position for where I started.
Awesome. Well, thanks for talking with us. We're going to head right back to break real quick, and we'll be talking with your winner of in the 72 car. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Your race winner, driver to the number 72 car. First off, Darwin, I've probably been butchering your last name the entire time. I apologize. Can you pronounce that for me so I can get it right from here on out?
Yep, it's pronounced pints or mints.
Oh, good. Okay, we're good. I think I said it right then. All right. Well, congratulations. The first race of the SCRS IndyCar World Series here at Sebring. A little bit of action out there with you and Justin Richardson. You guys were matching lap times the entire race. A little bit of contact. From your perspective, what was that battle like?
It was hard racing. It was early on. I started 4th and he was up front, so it took a little bit to get to 2nd. I was starting up front was Andrew Hoffert, which is a teammate, and Justin and I, with the 3 of us, actually won Daytona 24 Hours. So I know those drivers. We're familiar with each other. So once I got after it, like it just getting Jack and Kevin or Justin down was no easy task. I got to him. I only got around him because of pit strategy, because I went 1 lap longer on my 3rd stint, so I only had to take a little less. I came out of the pits in front of him. Unfortunately, we had contact when he was getting on the inside of me. I was held up by a lapped car really bad, and then he got pushed up past probably, and it just culminated in him getting in hot and not spinning at to miss me, and we still had contact, but my car wasn't too damaged, and it was a fun race. It was a lot cleaner, and I thought lap traffic was going to come into it, but it really didn't.
Well, that was a great drive from you, and this schedule is very diverse, Darwin. We go to a couple ovals, a couple more road courses. Without knowing a lot of these guys here, we're all, a lot of fresh faces here. What do you expect for the ovals later on this season?
You know, I don't really know what to expect. I've only raced these guys on road. I've raced a couple of my own teammates on oval. I know Justin's not really done a bunch of ovals, so I'm excited to see how that goes, but I'm really looking forward to a diverse schedule.
Awesome. Well, thanks for talking to us, Darwin. Congratulations on the victory. We're going to jump to commercial, and we'll try to see if we can get Justin Richardson in here for an interview. But thanks again, Darwin. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back with your second place finisher Justin Richardson. Justin, I hate to call second place a heartbreak, but after leading most of the race, I'm sure that's what it feels like. Walk me through those last couple laps in the contact with the 72.
If you saw my first stint, I pulled away. After my first pit stop, during my second stint, my damn brake pedal started sticking on me. So I started having no feel into the deeper brake zones, and it was frustrating me because that's where Darwin, I was looking on my relative and my crew chief in my headphones kept telling me what corners I was braking and missing. So I'm getting frustrated, and so I was just going through the motions. I had a good idea in my head what I was going to do stints-wise, and it looks like Darwin was able to run some his software, usually like JRT I know he runs, and that's what I run. I forgot to use mine. So he jumped me at the pits knowing how much fuel to put in. I didn't, so I went with a full tank. So he got me by a half a car length. Coming out, I had a run going into the hairpin, and he braked a lot later than I thought he would have. So I figured I'd brake a little harder and spin myself than collide with him. Looks like I did collide a little bit with him, so I apologize for that. But I spun myself to try to prevent a total collision between both of us. After that, I just tried to do my best to stay with him, but I got a little held up by, I think his name's Herbert, through a few corners. I was frustrated, tried to go in the middle of him, got to get off. At that point, I was really frustrated, got on the power and spun again.
All right, well, certainly an eventful race from your perspective. So good luck to you in the next coming weeks. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, should be fun. I've never driven an oval before.
But I think a lot of drivers haven't, so it'll be definitely fun to watch. Thanks for talking to us. We're going to jump to commercial real quick and finish up this broadcast. Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we're back with some concluding remarks for the first round of the SCRS IndyCar World Series, round number 1 at Sebring here in Sebring, Florida. Finian, a lot of action out there, a lot of sparks flying, a lot of tempers flaring, but all in all, a great first race for this.
Yeah, it was amazing to see for all those 40 laps. Just like, if it wasn't a battle for first, there was a battle for third, fifth. Like, everybody was battling the whole race. So it was great to see a lot of these guys competitive and racing each other. Didn't get as spread out as I thought it would because this is a big track. So definitely great to see the close racing, and hopefully it continues on the oval side of things. Next week we go to Phoenix. Sorry, not next week. Next race we go to Phoenix, and that'll be great to see these guys really close at Phoenix.
Yeah, definitely. So Phoenix is the next round, round 2 in this season. This is a season, or a year-long race season. So we should see a lot of different tracks and a lot of different drivers, and hopefully we'll have a couple more that we're missing. There's over 30 signed up for the full season, so hopefully we'll see an increased car count for the next round. From Sim TV, I'm Kyle Heyer. We're here with Finian DeCuna. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll be back in a couple weeks, and we'll be back also on Thursday for the Ferrari GT3 Challenge right here on YouTube. Thanks a lot, and have a great night.